What's going on here is expulsion of our rights, all for the purpose of changing some random number. Anyone who trusts this nonsense needs to goddamn wake up now, cause they don't think what Hitler did could ever happen again. They don't think that lockdown is enough to stop a virus, cause apparently they're all still certain it's the biggest threat to humans. Let me tell you now, that's not even close to what's going on, and I need to get the point across before this song gets removed from everything.
We all know of a comprehensive cyber attack, which will bring a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19.
4 years ago, this weirdo said he wanted to merge humans with machines. The reason he wanted to do this is so his friends and other rich people could always know what we were thinking. If he succeeds, which you should not let him do, the solution is to not think in words. I've heard of this Freedom Pass thing that you apparently need to get into everywhere. I haven't seen one in person yet, but they have been confirmed multiple times. I'm not sure whether I'm supposed to trust that. Wait, what was this guy about? Improve our imprepared? Freedom Pass is that what he meant to say? It's a bundle of lies. Okay. Planes are spraying weird stuff throughout the skies, and no one's quite sure what that's doing. Random numbers determine what you can know. Except for the vast majority of people who can't even change those numbers in the first place. Slavery Pass is what it should be called. It shows you've had a vaccine, which they're saying you'll need to live. If you don't get one, your rights will all be gone, and next will be your house and your food, and your friends, and your ability to fucking think! I don't know why you think I'm lying, even when there's all this evidence. All you need to do is check the webby thing they made, and check out what your local government is doing. Klaus wants everything about you to be open to everyone else. All those cards you carry with you will be tied to your DNA. But this excludes some other thing that they've labelled the Freedom Pass, and if you lose it, you'll be killed by someone who knows the virus does jack shit! Freedom Pass is a misnomer, freedom itself's an illusion. You'll get yellow wristbands to say you're cured from something you wouldn't notice having. If vaccines work and you've had one, then I'm not a threat to you if I've not had it, but prepare to be blown away by the sheer incompetence of the people in charge. What's this about changing DNA? How do you think that's gonna work? Two conflicting sets of it mean you might notice having COVID. Tell me what you think might happen if you go and get something made by a guy who couldn't even make a functional piece of software for 40 fucking years! Listen, what makes you think that nanobots will actually change your DNA? Humans are way too incompetent to even tell what's not a lie. People think that random numbers kill them when they drop too low. Those numbers are called money. The less you have, the worse your life. Who the fuck does this guy think he is? The next goddamn Hitler? I'm sick of your lies being drilled into my head! You're going genocide, it's right here, right now! Give me one good reason why we should kill anyone but you. When we come to kill you, there's nowhere that you can hide. Your dreams of power are being crushed right in front of you. Your slavery pass will never ever be made. Give up, there's nothing we can do. We're gonna kill all you, and we mean it, we do. Just wait until your corporations don't try to fool us into thinking you're on our side. It's cause of you that the whole economy has died. Why did you keep it so important for so long after breaking off the gold standard in 1971? Your slavery pass won't ever be accepted. We all know this has happened before. Don't you dare start sending us to have a goddamn shower and killing millions of people for no fucking reason. If they start trying that, you have to kill them all. Don't hesitate, just do it now as soon as they try to control you. There's one line that sums this up from the guy who thinks he's the next Hitler.
Citizens concerned with the privacy feel require adjustments and
Try it! Try it without being killed! Do you actually think that's gonna work? That's not something you can just do. Those you try it on will just kill you.
It's time to fight! End this madness!
Don't let control freaks turn you into fucking serfs! Show them it's not gonna work! Taking back control didn't apply before, but now it's time to create control over ourselves and get rid of that arbitrary shit. It's not needed to live! Random numbers should not decide when you die! Neither should a piece of paper! I don't care if it's official. Why can't I go back to apathy? This shouldn't mean anything to me. I could have been employed by now, but instead I have to get some random paper. It's only given out to people who already have a slavery pass!
Hey up, we're selling these things, but to get one, you need to already have one. But we're the only people who make them. So
Freedom
basically,
pass is
you're
a
the boss.
misnomer,
You never
and
get
freedom
one.
itself's an
Fine.
illusion. Remember that for the days ahead, but let me tell you, you can change it as long as you do before you die.